offended.
Mm, right? So, hey everybody, I'm Haley Gray. We are live and we are talking about knowing when to shut up, hold space, and listen, shut our mouths, and when to actually offer somebody advice and solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've been a chief offender of giving people totally unwanted, unasked for advice, just hopping in there and throwing my stuff in. And, one of the things I've learned is when I have a problem, you know, it's taken, my husband a long time to learn too. When I'm having a problem with work, I'm not necessarily complaining to him to ask him to solve
Mm-hmm.
my problem. It may just be talking it out so I can work my head around it.
I'm the kind of person who does talk to process. So having a beautiful, my mom's got beautiful ears. My mom's got amazing ears. We get together every Monday for a video lunch, and I tend to talk her ears off. Sometimes it's about, just fun, but sometimes it's me processing stuff out loud. And, I know our early years, it was, she would offer advice and stuff like that, and I would get offended and leave and everything like that. Now we've settled into this groove of, she knows I need to process out loud, and if I need something, I ask.
Yeah. And that's an important thing. If you're not sure, are you just processing out loud? Are you just venting? Do you just need me to listen? Do you just need me to hold space? Or do you want help finding a solution?
Mm-hmm.
And, I deal with a situation in my life with my daughter. My oldest daughter has a traumatic brain injury. And some psychiatric issues. And my younger daughter has some really gnarly health issues. They're not solvable. As we know with medical, technology today, it's not something that we can just say, here, find an easy solution for. So, yeah, there are times when I get incredibly frustrated by a situation that, nobody caused necessarily, but there's not necessarily like an easy solution. And, it's hard to tell somebody, hey, look, I'm not dumb. It's not that I haven't looked at every single solution you're offering me. And every single one of those causes more problems. I may have even tried most of them.
Well, I mean, and knowing who you are, because I have had the opportunity to get to know you really quite well over the last period of time. You are the kind of person that goes through and makes sense of all of the information that's available to you right now, right? And you're also the kind of person that goes looking for more information to add to that making sense thing. So I know.
Yeah.
Well, I know too, like just from my own personal experience of having my mother speak into things that I hadn't asked her to speak into when I was younger. It actually set me up so that I could be a beautiful pair of ears for my son as well, because I knew sometimes he needs to process things out loud too. And asking permission. I think that's one of the bigger things is asking for permission. Like what do you need from me? Do you need me to just be a pair of ears for you? Do you want me to speak into this? What do you want from me? Kind of thing. People can ask for permission. It's weird.
Well, and there's times where, somebody is in a state of grief. There is nothing I can do or say necessarily. If you're in that state of grief, other than to hold space.
Mhm.
One of my daughter's longtime friends, his mother passed away this week. And she's grieving that because she knew his mother and she's known him. And, you know, all I can say is, I'm sorry. That sucks. I'm here for y'all. Is there anything I can do?
Yeah.
Do you need me just to hold space and let you know that I'm here holding space for you?
Yeah.
Or what do you really need out of this? And I think it's important, when somebody comes in a situation like that and says, okay, so what do you actually need from me?
Mhm.
Rather than make assumptions.
Yeah. I think it's super important. And I think it's the kind thing to do. Like,
Mhm.
and sometimes it's as simple as saying, I, I wish I had an answer. I really wish I had an answer. You matter to me enough. I wish I had an answer. And I just
Right.
don't. And I don't know what to do for you.
Right. And I wish that there was an easy solution.
Yeah.
Y'all, I wish with my oldest daughter that there was an easy solution. There are none. My choices are pretty much bad or worse.
Mm.
Um, and I I understand why caregivers burn out. I understand why caregivers become suicidal in this type of situation. And I understand, the overwhelm and everything else. And I voiced that out loud recently and I got a ton of advice back. And I'm like, I wasn't asking for advice. I was just venting, my frustration and exhaustion with the situation because it's real and it's nonstop and it's never ending and it's not going to end. It's not a solvable problem, unfortunately. And I'm one of those people who, like you said, I like to make sense of things. I'm highly analytical. I'm an engineer with an MBA. I like to pick things apart. I like to turn things into, simple answers, streamline the hell out of it. And this is, kind of like the holy grail for me because to realize, okay, I am in my personal life very much faced with a situation that there is no pat or easy solution for. There's no cure. There's
Mhm.
no real hope of treatment at this point. The best outcome is everybody stays alive and everybody stays safe. And you look at that and you're like, oh wow, that really sucks. Yeah, it absolutely sucks. And one of the things I get from people all the time is I get random advice from people and I'm like, I don't think you understand.
No, they don't. And it's funny because people say dumb things
Mhm,
when they don't know what to say, but they want to make a
mhm.
difference.
Yeah. And unfortunately, in these types of situations, somebody has cancer, somebody has whatever, you know, learning to hold space, and unless you've been there in the type of situation, unless you've faced that kind of situation personally or a very close family member, you know, just ask, how can I help? Is there anything I can do to help?
Yeah.
Sometimes the answer is no. Unfortunately, not. There's really not a lot anybody can do for me at this point in time. I don't need the church to prepare meals. We've been doing this for 7 years. I think we've figured out meal plans at this point.
Mhm.
Um, but it's that, what do we really need? Maybe it's resources, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's really just, hey, I just need space.
Yeah.
And that to me has been one of those things where I have learned like, oh shit, I'm going to be 50 in December and I'm like, crap, I've been that person who's given people all kinds of advice who've never asked for it. Just unthinkingly.
Well,
because we don't think
It
about it.
still comes, it often, not always, but it often comes from that place of, I care and I want to make a difference. I,
Absolutely.
and that's where, like, sometimes it is, it oddly enough, it's the person in crisis offering grace to the person who's
Mhm,
not in crisis.
mhm. No,
Because,
absolutely.
because they don't know what to say, so they say something stupid.
Yeah, and people can say really stupid things.
Hmm. Done that.
Yeah, done that, been there, done that, been on the receiving end of that more than a
Yeah.
few times lately.
Well, like I said, I mean, with some of the experiences that I had with my mom, like I moved out when I was 16. I was a total butthead when I was a teenager. And,
Isn't
so
that like the definition of teenager? I'm just asking for a friend.
my mom used to say God made teenagers so you wouldn't miss them when they move out. I might have made that real for her.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I understand. Mhm.
Yeah.
I have 4 kids. My
I only
youngest is
had
about to turn
one.
16.
I only had one, but having
You were
having
smarter than I was.
oh, I tried for more. I did
Oh
try
boy.
for more. Yeah. And it ended up really good for me. I mean, I had a couple of miscarriages and stuff
Oh, I'm
like that.
sorry.
And I do, there is, like, my heart had so much more space for more children. And so it ended up that I pulled in my son's friends, right? And so, I had my extra children, I just didn't give birth to them.
Mhm.
Um, and having been such a dumbass teenager and kind of I was an asshole. Let's just put it out there. I was an asshole. It actually gave me some of the awareness that I can pull out of my hat now, in that when my son comes over and stuff's going on, it's like, so do you want me to speak into this or do you just want me to listen? And I got enough wisdom now to ask the question instead of just, letting my heart out of my mouth.
Mhm.
Right?
Oh yeah, I get it.
Sometimes the heart needs
Yeah.
to come out of the ears, not the mouth.
Well, and one of the most interesting things I heard, I did a 7 habits class when I was in corporate,
Mm,
and the instructor made a comment, and this has really stuck with me. You have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them in that proportion. And let me just
mhm.
say, it has stuck with me, but it has taken me a long time to learn that. And I'm still learning
It
because
is
I'm hard headed.
it's a practice. It's a practice. It's
Hmm.
it's it's something that I know I am continuously practicing because
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure, I know the language to say to my son, and I do it more often than I don't. And there are
Hmm.
still those times where it's like, bleh.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I get it. I totally get it. And here's the thing, like, this is not easy stuff. I mean, I wish it were.
mm-mm.
I mean, because the human nature is to come out and be there to be caring, and, sometimes we say the stupidest things when we're trying to care.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you the example that I just got diagnosed with melanoma again, round 3, and I'm posting about it on YouTube and stuff and videos, and it's right here. It's this brown spot on my forehead. Unfortunately, it's in a spot and I have a history of keloiding. And, my husband being my husband said, I don't care. I will still love you anyway. And I'm sitting here going, I don't want to look like fucking Frankenstein. because I'm going to have a huge section taken out of my forehead and probably skin grafts and all the things.
I know
And
you love
and
me
a
and I don't
keloid.
like it. You
Do
know,
what?
that I said, yeah, I know you love me and I still don't like it.
And I'm still not happy about it. And I'm still
Yeah.
not happy that I'm likely to scar. And that, yes, I know that the scar can be dealt with because I dealt with the one on my neck. Because I had one on my neck. This is my third round with melanoma. And I know that it's totally treatable. But dear Lord, please don't sit here and say, oh, you'll be fine, pat me on the head. I'm like, yeah, but how many years is it going to take me to get to fine? You know, I'm still sitting here with a scar on my neck. So what?
Yeah, but knowing you're going to be okay, knowing there are that over time, you know, certain things will occur, does not make now better.
No.
It just doesn't.
Mm-mm. No. And he's like, oh, you'll be fine.
I know that, but I'm not right now.
And I don't feel like looking for like Frankenstein for the next 3 years, which is probably what's going to happen to some extent, y'all. I'm going to have a scar and it'll probably be quite visible. And we've gone through this rodeo before. This rodeo means, yes, it means lasers and it means acupuncture and it means all kinds of crazy stuff to get the scars to go down.
Yeah.
We know what this means. I know what this means. I've done it 2 other times.
Doesn't mean you have to like it just because you know it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a friend, a colleague, whatever you want to call him, and you know, we were talking about, because for me, December through to about March, April, that was a kind of a tough time for me. I was going through some emotional things that were really that were rough, and I hurt. I really hurt. And now you know, I'm on the upswing and I'm feeling really good, and so I'm on that part of that curve, right?
Right.
And that was the way he pointed it out to me, and it was like, you know, are our curves, are our down curves as deep as others were? And I'm like, you know, yes, this hurt, and when I was in it, I hurt, and it didn't matter to me at that point that when my divorce was, when my marriage was crumbling, I hurt more than I hurt now. Looking back, I understand that dip wasn't as deep as the dip of my marriage crumbling. But I can tell you, when I was in it, when I was right at the bottom of that dip, if you'd have said to me, well, this isn't as bad as when you got your divorce, like,
you probably would have thrown a pie in my face, right? Well, it's not that bad. You'll be okay.
so what? So what? Right?
Exactly,
So
right?
what? So yeah, you dealt with it before and you made it through. So what? I'm dealing with it right now.
And you know, and the cool thing here is that you don't have to say anything. You can say, I'm sorry. You know,
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of you. What can I do?
Yeah.
Let's go get a beer.
Right. And I'll
I
give you
got
a
one
hint. You're
there.
going to get things thrown at you. My husband got things thrown at him. I will admit, I resorted to throwing things at my husband across the dinner table when he said, we went out to dinner with friends like 4 days later after my diagnosis. And he's like, well, she's been bitching about this for 3 days. And I'm like, oh, dude, I'm just getting started. And you're lucky I'm not throwing knives. I'm just throwing them at you.
Right? Right? Like my ex used to make these comments about, you know, he's joking, right? Woman belongs in the kitchen and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, there's that other joke out there that is, do you know why women live longer than men? Because that's where the knives are. Just saying, right? But yeah, no, it really is. Honestly, it really comes back to um, compassion and grace.
Hmm.
Compassion and grace for ourselves, compassion and grace for others.
Hmm.
And if we can always land in that spot, then we're doing okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And, knowing when to zip your lips
Yeah.
and say nothing, and I want to give a shout out to my friends lately who have just said, hey, I'm just holding space for you. I know you're going through shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just holding space. And I'm like, thank you. That's what I really need right now.
Yep.
And, and that's one of the things that I've really learned is, how important that I'm just holding space for you right now. Because then you don't need to throw knives at people or menus or the dinner plate or anything else.
Random food.
Yeah, random food would be good.
It could be fun. I might feel better.
Knife fight at the dinner table.
I know my I've got a couple of girlfriends who've been going through divorce, and honestly it's just poking my nose in, checking in on you, poking
Hmm.
my nose in, checking in on you, checking in on you. Not
Hmm.
nothing more than just I'm thinking about you, and that's it.
Absolutely. Right. And I mean, I have people all the time who are in business or friends or whatever. And as you get to know me, you'll know that I come around every so often. I'm like, how are you doing? How are you? Just checking in. How are things going?
Mm-hmm.
Just holding space for you.
Yep. I like
It's
I
a
like it
beautiful
when
thing.
that happens. Even if I'm not in one of my dips, when
Mhm.
somebody goes, "Hey, how you doing? Thinking of
Yeah,
you."
I'm thinking about you. How wonderful a gift is that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Not I'm thinking of you. Do you have anything I can give you answers for?
Or do you have any? I'm thinking of you. Can I sell you anything?
Right?
Since this is, mostly an entrepreneur group, or you work with divorcing women. It's not a, hey, how are you? Can I sell you anything now? No, hey, how are you? I saw that you were sick last week. How are you feeling now? Are you starting to recover?
Yeah.
I saw you broke your foot. How are you feeling? I'm not even going to mention, hey, I want to follow up on that, quote I sent you 2 months ago until maybe all the pins are out of your foot.
Or I haven't seen you online. Are you okay?
Yeah,
Thinking of you.
totally. Darn straight. And I mean, I have a friend right now and she's going through some stuff. And I mean, I'm just like, hey, how are things? How are you doing? And I send silly ass memes to her. And, and when my daughter's going through hell, my younger daughter and stuff, she's like, don't send me sweet, sappy stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'll send you all the sarcastic stuff. Got it. She's like, I
Yep.
might have to, pull out the knives if you send me the sweet, sappy stuff. And I'm like, okay, no sweet, sappy stuff. I'll send you all the sarcastic stuff.
Yep. I love even when I'm happy, that's the kind of stuff I like. I love funny.
Oh, I do too. Yeah,
There's been some
it's
really,
always,
really good animal ones out there. There's a couple I'm going to have to send you. I've been firing them off to my son because we both like the animal ones. There's a little bit of potty mouth in it. I'm just going to warn
oh, I like the funny animal ones.
you.
I was joking today that Amy is kind of like a psychedelic lollipop dipped in crazy sauce. That's my 1-year-old puppy
Sour
who,
candy.
mhm. She, yeah, chews up random couches and chairs and, you know,
Oh, one of the ones that I'm sending you is going to really be in
mhm.
alignment with that. Really
Yeah,
be in
I have
alignment.
2 other dogs and they're just so much more chill. Kenny kind of has 2 buttons, on, Velociraptor style, and off. crashed and burned.
Yeah.
And there's no in between.
It sounds to me like a toddler.
I told a friend it was like having a toddler 24/7, only an especially destructive toddler.
Oh, goody.
Very much like one of my children.
Oh, goody.
She reminds me extremely of one of my children who, yes, folks, went swinging from the chandelier that's currently above my desk.
Did she have a cape on?
Not that time, but there were times that she was wearing a cape and then went outside and went standing on the top of the play set and said, I'm going to do something incredibly stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the ceiling fan incident. She didn't actually go swinging from the ceiling fan. She's always very quick to tell everybody that she did not go swinging from the ceiling fan. What she did was got with her sister. This is why having multiple children is a very bad idea. And they decided to test the switch for the ceiling fan in the bedroom. So one of them, the younger one, was jumping up and grabbing the chain on the ceiling fan while the other one stood at the wall and mashed the button. They shorted out the motor and it started smoking.
Oh, wow. That's one of, wonder what this will do. I wonder what this will do.
I wonder what this will do. That is what having this puppy is like.
Okay.
So if anybody would like to puppy sit, let me know.
Yeah.
And if you need to tell me that we need to wear her out anymore, just please understand that she went walking for 6.5 miles yesterday, almost 7, and 2 hours at the dog park.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly it. So with that,
I'm not going to give you any advice about dogs.
yeah, no, I think we just
and I'm not going to volunteer for anything either.
You're not going to volunteer to puppy sit?
I'm well, sorry.
Yeah, you're not up for that kind of challenge. Anyway. I hope y'all have an awesome night. Thank you, Velma, for joining me here tonight. This has been fun. I hope this was a helpful topic. Y'all let us know. Leave us some comments. We'll talk soon. Take care, y'all.
Bye.